Hello my country people, welcome back to Spice Channel TV. In the wake of the recent Edo Tribunal judgment, there's been a wave of debate across Nigeria. Many people have been reacting to this, and this judgment is somehow confusing. Seriously, we all know that Monday Okepebholo won at the tribunal. The tribunal declared him the winner of the election. But as for Ighodalo, is not just a candidate who contested and lost. Asue Ighodalo represented hopes and dreams of thousands of Edo people who stood up against a rising tide of electoral impunity. It's just so unfortunate that the tribunal had interpreted something else. Now here is a brief review of the Edo State Election Petition Tribunal judgment.
The tribunal, the three-man tribunal chaired by Justice Wilfred Apochi, for whatever reason, turned jurisprudence on its head. Now, when they say our lawyers were stammering, just to say that none of the lawyers yesterday spoke in court. So there was no issue of anybody, there was no need for anybody to stammer. Because it was just the judges to reel out the judgments that they have, the conclusion they got in those judgments. But what are the facts? What did we take to the tribunal? What did we expect them to look at? We have consistently said that we do not have any issues with the elections at the 4,500 polling units in Edo State. Elections were held at that level. What we have said, which we took to the tribunal, was that there was substantial non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act. And we broke it down in two parts. Number one, they did not fill, the INEC did not fill Form EC 25B, where the Supreme Court has said, if you don't fill those forms, all the results from those units affected are null and void. Now, Ruben, you permit me to say this. The Form EC 25B is not filled at the polling units. It's filled at the RAC centers. A RAC center is Registration Area Center. And it's filled a day before the elections at the RAC centers, where you have the SPOs and the presiding officers. There is no political party agent at the RAC centers. So how do you expect a political party's agent to come to the court to testify to a place where he's not supposed to be, to give credence to the fact that the Form EC 25B, which was not filled in 320 polling units, which should have taken out of APC's votes about 46,000 votes. You say we should have called a polling unit agent to come there. That is travesty of justice. That is not right. That is not in Nigeria we want to live with. That is not in Nigeria we want to bequeath to our kids. Second leg of our petition, we said there was overvoting in 175 polling units. You are saying, even if we brought the beavers, we brought the extracts, we brought the from EC8A to show that there was overvoting, we should have called the 175 polling unit agents to come and testify. And you know the most interesting thing of the whole thing? The tribunal hinged the argument on our calling the polling unit agents because on the case of Tanko versus INEC. That's a senatorial election case in Kaduna in 2023, where the APC candidate lost to the PDP candidate. And the appeal court then said that this section 137 of the Electoral Act that says if you have the documentary evidence certified by the relevant authority, you don't need oral evidence. They are saying we should have still called, because that section, that's what the appeal court said, that section does not give you the right not to call polling unit agents. But Ruben, will you believe that We are not talking about polling unit agents. At that level, we are fine. So we didn't have to call polling unit agents. And in any case, in all our petition, in all the replies to our petition by the first, second respondents, there was nowhere, nobody mentioned INEC versus Tanko. What does that tell you? The tribunal made himself the fourth respondent in this case.
Are able to provide substantial documentary evidence on a matter as long as it speaks to those evidence that they may not need oral evidence of witnesses. And we were dismayed to hear the tribunal judges make reference to those documents we tendered and expecting us to have brought over 700 witnesses.
Well, let me then ask you, because that was going to be my next question, to give us, as briefly as you can, an overview of what happened at that tribunal today from the perspective of your party, the PDP.
Thank you. We had three major issues before the tribunal. We had said that there was overvoting in over 132, 133 polling units. We had also said that there was incomplete collation of figures in several polling units. We had also put forward evidence before the tribunal that in over or almost 400 polling units, INEC failed to submit herself to her guidelines in the Electoral Act Section 72, where that says that prior to the election, there must be a recording of sensitive particulars of sensitive election materials. And where that is not done, the results in that polling unit must be cancelled. Section 51 of the Electoral Act says that where the number of accredited voters exceed the number of those who voted, then there's overvoting, and the results in those polling units should be cancelled. See, we had documentary evidence to prove to the tribunal that there were these levels of contrivance against the Electoral Act. And for those reasons, Okepebholo did not have the highest number of lawful votes. And we were shocked, everyone in the courtroom, we were amused that the tribunal judges kept making reference to not bringing witnesses.
Well, they said you brought 19 witnesses.
Yes, we brought 19
before
witnesses.
The tribunal, as well as lots of documents.
Yes.
I mean, the APC called 4 witnesses, and the Electoral Commission did not call any witnesses at all.
Yes.
So the burden was on you to prove your case.
Absolutely, and that's why we presented documentary evidence, certified true copy from INEC. Those were all INEC documents. None was manufactured by us. And INEC at no point said that they were refusing those documents because they were certified true copies. They were from EC8As, from the polling units and agent copies, and they were from EC8As downloaded from the IRM as provided to us by the INEC, and they were certified, and they were Beavers extracts. These are all INEC documents. And so we were wondering, yes, we didn't think we needed to provide over 700 witnesses because we're challenging results in over 700 polling units. But sadly and shockingly, Nigerians are worried that how is it then that the tribunal would require you to provide witnesses in all those areas when there's documentary evidence certified by INEC to show that, yes, there was overvoting, yes, there was non-prior serialization of sensitive election materials. Yes, there was obvious incomplete collation of scores. And so the Edo people feel that this is just a glitch. It is not a catastrophe.
Right. Well, let's just stay on the track of what happened at that tribunal, not just today, but over the period. Because the APC had claimed that earlier, the tribunal at the tribunal hearing, that the polling units that the PDP tendered documents about, when compared with the ones INEC presented, still showed that the APC candidate was well ahead of the PDP, and that in effect, your candidate failed to prove that there was overvoting.
That's obviously not true. I just said the Electoral Act, Section 51, explicitly explains what overvoting means. When people who ended up voting are more than those that were accredited by INEC, are more than those that are accredited even according to the Beavers machine, then that is obviously overvoting.